France confirms Russian freighter found. A Russian manned cargo ship that vanished in the Atlantic last month has been found near Cape Verde, the French Defense Ministry has said. A ministry spokesman said Cape Verde Coast Guards confirmed that the Arctic Sea was discovered Friday afternoon, approximately 520 miles off the former Portuguese colony off the West African coast. The MV Arctic Sea has been missing since it passed through the English Channel on July 28th. The Maltese flagged freighter sent radio messages as it sailed south along the coast of France and Portugal, but then, mysteriously, all contact was lost. France was involved in search efforts, together with several other countries, including Russia's Black Sea Fleet. We do not have a specific position. NATO spokesman Commander Chris Davies at NATO's maritime headquarters in England said NATO was watching the situation but was not directly involved in the search. We do not have a specific position, he said. NATO began watching developments after the ship reported coming under attack in the Baltic Sea because it was a very unusual situation. The crew had reported that the ship was boarded June 24th in Swedish waters by approximately 10 masked men who tied them up, beat them, questioned them, and carried out an extensive search before leaving 12 hours later in a high-speed inflatable boat. Perhaps they never really did leave. The alleged attack, unusual in itself, raised further concerns because it was not reported until the freighter had passed through Britain's busy shipping lanes, the Dover Strait, and was heading out into the wide Atlantic. A second attack? The European Commission suggested the ship may have come under attack a second time. Radio calls were apparently received from the ship, which had supposedly been under attack twice, the first time off the Swedish coast and then off the Portuguese coast. The Portuguese Foreign Ministry said, however, that the ship was never in Portuguese territorial waters. And something like this, there hasn't been an attack on a ship in centuries, said one maritime expert. The ship's Russian operator said it had no information about a possible second attack. French maritime authorities said they received radio messages on July 29th that the ship sailed past the north coast of France. The Arctic Sea's report to British maritime authorities as it passed through the Dover Strait, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, was the last known voice contact with the crew. The ship had been due to make port August 4th in Algeria with a $1.8 million cargo of timber. The Malta Maritime Authority said the Arctic Sea has not approached the Straits of Gibraltar, which indicates that the ship headed out into the Atlantic Ocean. Speculation on what might have happened to the ship has ranged from suspicions that it was carrying secret cargo to theories about a commercial dispute. Security experts have been wary of attributing its disappearance to pirates or bandits, noting that piracy is totally unheard of in European waters. It would seem that these acts, such as they have been reported, have nothing in common with traditional acts of piracy or armed robbery at sea. Perhaps it was hijacked for some other kind of reason. Perhaps it was a test of international security. 3 main types of piracy. A maritime journalist at Lloyd's List in London said there are 3 main types of piracy. There is the sort seen in Somalia, where a gang takes a ship and the captain and demands a ransom in return for release. In the Far East, criminals steal the entire ship, repaint it, and trade it, sell it, creating what are called phantom ships. That could be a dangerous thing. And in less developed areas, piracy has sometimes been more like armed robbery. The 18-year-old Arctic Sea was not particularly valuable. The ship isn't really worth stealing, said one maritime expert, noting most such ships have a life of 20 to 25 years. So this is a mystery. A mystery of some kind. And it wasn't held for ransom or hostage. Yes, perhaps it was some kind of test of some kind. Anyway, hopefully more will be known about this missing freighter incident. What has it been doing for the last 2 weeks? That is a good question. How come it's so far off course? And how come the captain didn't turn around and go back to the port? Supposedly, the crew suffered serious injuries. Anyway, something doesn't sound right about this whole story. There's some pieces missing here. Mystery. And there's something more going on here. Something bigger. And these are more signs of the end times transition days. The transition, it's ongoing. It's happening all around the world every day. And there are many, many signs.